Good morning on this Thursday in the futures markets. All right, we're at 6 o'clock and we're going to get started. This week really has been something else. As you can see, we are still in an uptrend, even though we can see from the news that potentially with AI being overheated, we're going to see some type of pullback. But I don't know when, I don't know how severe. All I can do is really read the charts. And as you can see, ever since we've reclaimed our 6,800, we've managed to hold that line right up into the 6,850s and still holding higher. Now this is in the 4-hour chart. I am starting to see a little bit of a curl, potentially putting in the first lower high, but once you jump on down to the hour, you'll see that we've yet to make an hourly lower low. We've got low, higher low, higher low, higher low. Kind of have a double bottom here, putting in a slightly higher low here, but our first potential lower high at 68.91. Now, that is coming off the overnight. So if we're going by just a day, then we're still looking good. We can still produce potentially an hourly higher high. What I will say, though, it has been difficult to be in a bullish trend this week and trade the morning and try to look for a long when really all the longs have been taking place later in the morning. And if we go back to even Friday, we didn't kick off longs until noon. And then on the Monday the 10th, it was at noon. And on Tuesday 11th, it was at noon. On Wednesday, noon as well. And I primarily trade between 9:30, 10 o'clock, right up to about noon. So I'm sitting here looking for longs the best I can, trying to look at what we're looking at on the macro charts and really just burning myself out mentally. I had been pulling off my small wins. I'm still green for the week, but it has definitely been harder being that I don't typically trade in the afternoon due to my work schedule. So right now, if we were to follow the trend, we're going to see a bit of a pullback in the open and then ideally rip higher in the afternoon. So I either have to play patient, maybe not take a morning trade, or potentially short scalp until I see that consolidation and that sort of rotation upwards. But right now, what can we see from the hour charts? So over the past couple of days, our value area highs are increasing. What I will say is that they're getting a little bit closer together. Our value area lows from yesterday and the overnight are matching Tuesday's value area high. So we're trying to find some level of support. Buyers are happy buying at higher prices. The weekly value area high is holding as this night's support, as we can see, going actually pretty far back. We have the gap up, and then that 68.50, 68.60 line is support, 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 break, resistance, resistance, almost resistance, resistance again, breaks through, and now has played triple support, and we're starting to move up again. If we look at the seller's channel, realistically, if you were to draw a line, it is starting to fade out, but we are matching lower highs here, or equal lows here. But we did break out. We did fail the overnight at yesterday's high a day, dropped all the way back down to support, and then it's working its way back up. So I can already tell you that this morning is going to start off as a patience play. I don't really see any other way. Again, I don't think there's any news this morning. If we jump over here real quick, yeah, I don't see anything. So when there is no news, there isn't a major catalyst, and we're essentially in a range. If we look, take this line out. Yesterday's high, yesterday's low. So the overnight has barely touched and broken through yesterday's low. It has yet to beat yesterday's high, so we're in range entirely. Currently, we're inside value as well, so we are very neutral. We're right around the close, also neutral. Overnight range, we're right in the middle, neutral. And inventory-wise, we are probably a little bit weighted toward higher inventory. I would say we're almost 50-50. I mean, just for the sake of it, I'm not going to get down to brass tacks in this. I'm going to go 50-50 in inventory. So we're neutral all the way across the board. So what can I possibly look at to make a trade today prior to noon, when every day since Friday we've been selling off until noon before we go for the higher high of the day? At some point that will probably have to stop. But we can see here, big block, big old block here, really showing support. So we'll eat the whole thing at first. There's 15 points of resistance turned support sitting right here. Now, if I were to try to narrow that down a little bit, I'll take out these wicks. I'll take off the messiness of earlier in the week, and I'll bring it down to yesterday's value area low. So now we have 65.58. Now we have about a 7-point build-in support line. All right, I like that. Right now, we have an overnight high, which usually, as we say, it's unrepaired. That could be a target, but I'm going to go with resistance right here. We'll make it a little bit, there you go. So this is just a general outline. When it's this neutral, I'm just trying to give myself a path of what I can look for. I'm going to go with, currently, depending on how we look at 8:30, I probably don't want to really trade inside this box right here. Right here doesn't look wildly interesting to me. The only way I can trade it is if we really do have a range day and we're just bouncing back off value area high, value area low. You can take short scalps, value area high, short to point of control, and then buy value area low and long to point of control. Very small moves. I mean, that whole move right now, 65 to 90, you were to split that in half. I mean, those are still good, probably 10, 12, 15 point moves that you can pull, depending if the range were to stay the same. But right now, I'm not really seeing a whole lot. I think what we could be in for is we could just continue higher, in which case what I'd like to see is going into pathing really quick. I always forget what the pathing is. Going into pathing, if we were to open in the middle, break out, get above overnight high, right? That's a fair trade. At the very least, I mean, that's a solid spot there. I mean, even if you wanted to potentially, depending on momentum, if it looks like the momentum's there, you could take the buy here and then sell most at 6,900, move your stop to break even and see if it can keep going. You can get a couple runners there, see if you can get to Monday's high. So that could be path one with a tight stop loss if the momentum is there to break out of the overnight high and also yesterday's high. Pathing number two that could be of interest is if we break down below these wicks, weekly value high, last week's value area high, and yesterday's low a day, and continue down. First stop would be previous lows, and then second stop would be, I'd probably be okay here. I mean, that's a long ways down. But if we look, we kept the support, we ripped down, we bounced back up. If we're looking to make what would inevitably be a higher, pretty much daily low, We need something along these lines. All right, that's the 4 hour. On the daily. So there's where we're at for the day. That would make sense. So if we jump back down to the 15, yeah, somewhere in here, somewhere between 68.30 and 68.10, if we could get back down there and test for a higher low, that would really set us up for a better long, because right now there isn't any catalyst to shoot us into an imbalance range to continue these higher highs, especially with AI concerns and all the selling off in the tech sector. It's going to drag the S&P down. We do have potential stimulus from Trump. We have potential end of government shutdown, which I don't think is actually ended yet. I think they're still voting on it or something around those lines, which are healthy factors to push the market up. But we've been sitting there for a couple days, and this is the result of that information already being out. It's just a slow grind higher. So today, again, it's another day of patient planning, waiting for the right move. Don't jump in on anything too fast. Don't make a decision based off of a single candle. Really look for either consolidation, breakout, retest, and go, or at least look for a catalyst, something to shoot the market one direction or the other in order to find the entry point to secure risk, give yourself a high probability trade setup, and a potential win. Because other than that, I don't really see much. It's a straightforward day in patience, but not a straightforward day in setups. So that's where I sit. Maybe something interesting will happen by 8:30 to change all this. But I don't even see a pre-market setup, really. If I look at this, right now in pre-market, if this maintains, holds here, you could probably pre-market go long, at least to the close. You can see a pretty obvious support resistance turning out right here. If it remains down here, point of control will probably start to come down and then match that 68.75. If they're really, if the sellers were going to push, I think they would have pushed already. Buyers really are not that thrilled right now, but sellers aren't that thrilled right now. So I don't see anyone panic buying, panic selling to get out of a trade. I don't really see new money longs jumping in aggressively without a news catalyst. And sellers, as long as we're in this uptrend the way we are, they're waiting for a catalyst as well. And I think even a break below 68.50 is not really going to drive sellers to the point where they're piling in and pushing this whole thing down. So all that being said, be super patient today. Be super patient. All right, good luck.